So Oda may have just revealed that Mihawk was once a Marine, or possibly once a Holy Knight, or affiliated with the world government in some way outside of being a warlord later on in his life. And that's because Oda was recently asked about Mihawk in the latest SBS in One Piece Volume 108. The SBS stands for Shitsumano Bushu Suru, which means I'm taking questions. It's pretty much like the Q&A portion of the volumes, and today we're going to be going over most of, if not all of the questions that he got in the latest SBS, starting with this Mihawk question. So he was asked, in chapter 1058, Crocodile mentioned that Mihawk was called the Marine Hunter in the past. Is it somehow related to the reason why Mihawk joined the Seven Warlords of the Sea? And Oda said, Mihawk is a person who holds a grudge against the Marines in the past and have experienced a great betrayal in the sense of solitude. He's just like Crocodile who doesn't trust people, and there is a part of him getting tired with life. Being a member of the Seven Warlords means that he won't be chased by the Marines. That way, he will have peace. So that's why he became a member, I think. But now, that position has vanished. So the idea now is to hide behind Buggy's shadow. So that's really interesting. It goes back to what I was saying in the beginning of the video. But first, let's go back to chapter 1058 to see what this guy was talking about. So this is when the Cross Guild was like fully revealed. I mean, we knew about their name and formation before this, but this is when we actually saw them talking to each other, along with a flashback of when they formed. So when the Marines were going after Mihawk after the Reverie had disbanded the Warlord system, Mihawk had gotten a call from Crocodile, and Crocodile was like, you know, come over to my side. It's not a bad deal. With our name value combined, the Navy will have to sit up and take notice. You were once known as the Naval Hunter or Marine Hunter once upon a time. And then Mihawk kind of says to himself, after he's asked this, in terms of distrust for others, we have at least one thing in common already. And I guess that was enough for Mihawk to join up with Crocodile and make the Cross Guild. So adding to what Oda says here about he holds a grudge against the Marines in the past and has experienced a great betrayal, it makes you think, like, was Mihawk a Marine in the past? And that very likely could be a possibility, especially because we don't know anything about Mihawk. Like, we know more about Shanks than we know about Mihawk, which is pretty wild if you think about it. And speaking of Shanks, that could be why he and Mihawk are rivals. It could be something similar to like Garp and Roger. Maybe Mihawk was like Shanks's Garp. You know, like the Marine that was always chasing after him, but they kind of had camaraderie. And them always fighting against each other and clashing is probably why they became rivals. Now, if Mihawk wasn't a Marine, it's possible that he was a Holy Knight. Because, you know, we found out that there are these Holy Knights in the world government. They're like above the Marines. They're essentially like right below the Gorosei, I guess you could say. And their leader is Figureland Garling, who we speculate is very likely to be Shanks's father. And I think that would be fascinating if that's another connection between the three of them here. Like Figureland Garling trained Mihawk possibly, which eventually led to him facing his own son and becoming a rival with him. Now, I don't want to jump the gun too much because there's little to no evidence. There's actually no evidence to support other than just Mihawk is a complete beast and he has a crazy sword in Yoru. And that's pretty much it. It's like Yoru is one of the 12 supreme grade swords. And it's like, where did he get that? You know, it would make sense that he could have possibly gotten it from being a Holy Knight or just being a Marine or just got it from the world government in some way, if he just didn't steal it, I suppose. But this makes us think that, or at least makes me think that Mihawk wasn't always like a pirate. And as for what his betrayal was, there's no way to know. I have no idea. Maybe some ultra sleuth out there can figure it out by reading between the lines in the Japanese text, but not me. But just him being betrayed and having a grudge against the Marines really makes me think that he probably was one himself, and then something went awry, and then they just turned on him. Maybe it had something to do with Shanks. Maybe because he let Shanks go. I don't know. Maybe it's not that simple, because another aspect of Mihawk that I personally believe is that he is immortal, because he has like those double ringed eyes just like Imu does, as well as Zunisha and Hakuba for some reason. But in my opinion, these double-ringed eyes signify that the perpetual youth surgery has been performed on you. That's like one of the abilities of the Ope Ope no Mi, the fruit that Law has. Like, you could do this ability with it where you give your own life, but then you can bestow eternal youth or just immortality on somebody. Not like they're invulnerable, but they just don't age anymore, I suppose. Because it's all but been confirmed that Emu has this, especially by Ivankov. So I'm assuming that Mihawk has it as well. And it's like, why does Mihawk have this? Who did it to him? I have no idea. It could also lead to how those guys got the fruit that Corazon got the Ope Ope no Mi from and eventually fed it to Law. You know, that could be the connecting tissue there, the last person to perform the surgery on Mihawk. Not really sure, but I think that Oda may have slipped up a little bit here and revealed that Mihawk was tied to the world government in some way. But real quick, guys, could you please follow me on either TikTok or Instagram, whichever platform you prefer to use. I try to upload TikToks and Reels every day. I'm also trying to get to 10,000 followers on either of those platforms. So if you can help me with that, I would really appreciate it. I'll have the links in the description. Thank you so much, guys. So as for the other questions that at least we got translations for, they're not really that exciting, I'm not gonna lie. One of them is like about tears, which you can just look at it here and pause if you want to read it. I'm not really gonna go over it. Another was about Figurlin Garling's hairstyle and what it would look like if he kept growing his hair and beard. Essentially, it would just connect into a circle, which I guess would create the full moon because his beard and hair are already like a crescent moon. And then he was asked, like, what if Ivankov ate Kaido's fruit? And because, you know, Kaido's fruit was originally back in God Valley when Ivankov and Kuma were slaves there. And Ivankov almost had the fruit before Big Mom took it. And it essentially just looks like Ivankov's face on Kaido's dragon body. That's essentially what it looks like. Honestly, a waste of a question. A lot of these SBSs you're going to see are like wastes of questions, but I guess Oda likes answering them because they're kind of goofy. And the stakes are really low on them, I suppose, and he doesn't really have to give away too much information. You can't just directly ask Oda straight up like questions where it's going to reveal like pivotal parts of the lore. Like, he doesn't even want to do that himself with these chapters. Another question was, what would the anthropomorphization of Roger's sword look like? So Roger has one of the, or I'm pretty sure he probably has one of the 12 Supreme Grade swords as well. I don't know if that's confirmed, but he named it Ace. And Oda does this thing where he makes like the swords look like if they were actual people. Like, he's done it throughout these SBSs, and he recently just did Roger's. And it kind of just looks like a guy with a beard and glasses, nothing really special. And then the last question we got here, he was asked about Big News Morgan. And he was asked if Morgan's is a flightless bird from the mink race. And Oda said, right, there are no bird species among the minks. The mink race is composed of animal humanoids with fluffy hairs. With that being said, Morgans ate the bird fruit model Albatross, who was always in his human form. I wonder what he really looks like in his human form. So this would be pretty awesome if Oda didn't already give us this information in Morgan's Viver card, right? I'm pretty sure that's where we originally found out that he was a Albatross fruit user who just always stayed in his Zoan form. Still a cool aspect of Morgan's nonetheless, but maybe Oda even possibly forgot that he put that information in the Viver card in the first place. But I guess also confirming that there are no bird minks, even though, you know, we ourselves never saw any at Zo, but I guess it's just nice to confirm it. But that's pretty much it for this one, guys. Let me know what you think about it in the comments, and if you liked the video, please give it a like, and please subscribe if you haven't already. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.